Will the Florida Panthers have to look in a different direction if one of their big free agents ends up walking? Who is out there in the free agent market that could fit with the Florida Panthers? Who can help them get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for a fourth year in a row? This is all hypotheticals right now, guys. These are what ifs. This is not me doing any breaking news, any sort of rumors, dispelling rumors. None of that. This is purely hypothetical on what if one of our big unrestricted free agents actually tests the market and signs somewhere else. What will the Florida Panthers do? Well, on this episode, and thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest, I am going to talk about three guys that are unrestricted free agents that are out there right now that could potentially replace Aaron Ekblad if he decides to walk. And we're only talking about defensemen today. We're not going to talk about centers. We're not going to talk about wingers. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff. It's purely just defensemen on this episode. So again, I'm not saying anything about Aaron Ekblad leaving or staying. The only thing that has come out today is he was asked about, have there been contract talks between you and the Panthers? He says, yes, there have been, but there's nothing that has come to fruition. There's nothing to really report on. So he said these things take some time and usually they will be resolved later and at the last minute. And he says that he does say that this is his home and he wants it to continue to be his home. I know I said that he gave this speech when he was out at the club the other night, and it was this very heartfelt, emotional speech that seemed to me kind of like a farewell speech. But it seems like the talks between the Panthers and Ekblad are ongoing. So that is some good news. And the other rumors about Bennett and Marchand, well, I'm going to have to get into that with you guys either later today or possibly tomorrow. So anyways, getting back to this again, thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews, and hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to stay up to date, especially now with all the news that will be coming out there about rumors and who, what if, where's somebody else going to go, how much they're going to sign for, what do the Panthers have to offer. All of these things you need to know about with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. So definitely hit that subscribe button down below, guys. It's so easy to do and it's free, and you can stay up to date every single time that I have a video that comes out. You'll be one of the first to know. So Aaron Ekblad, let's say he doesn't sign. Well, who is out there in the unrestricted free agent market? Again, keep an open mind with this, guys, please. So when we're talking about this, think about the cap room that is freed up if he does leave. So we have a potential of somewhere between about $5.5 to $6.5 million that will be open for the Panthers to use. Maybe, again, I don't know. I'm saying, let's say not Bennett. We're not going to think about Marchand. We're just speaking about Aaron Ekblad and the dollar amount that potentially, in terms of his AAV, what's been talked about in terms of who is going to offer what. So right now, it can go as high as maybe around $8 million from the word on the street. But I think if he signs here, they can maybe get him at a very nice discount at around $5.5 million, maybe to $6 million, because he's already done 8 years here. He's made $60 million. Even if he signs that contract and he does 5 years, he'll make around almost $100 million as a Florida Panther, as just a hockey player, without any sort of additional bonuses or, endorsements, not bonuses, endorsements, things like that. So he'll make $100 million just as a player for the Florida Panthers. So I think he should take the hometown discount, but I don't want to get into all of this right now because, again, this is about who is out there just in case if he does leave. So we're going to jump right into it. And guys, again, I know some of you are like, I can't see the stats, even on 80-inch TV. Thank you guys for telling me, and we are working on trying to fix that. But there is a way that I can get you guys to see the stat lines for some of these players. Unfortunately, it's not going to be their whole career stats. It's going to be just for the season. But again, bear with me. I will try to explain everything as we move forward. So we're going to kick things off right now. The very thing that is scary about the Florida Panthers, 3 championships in a row, 3 Stanley Cup Finals appearances in a row, back-to-back championships, a President's Trophy are in their pocket. They want to add more, obviously. There are rumors swirling about so much. But right now, the biggest thing that they need to start thinking of is what happens if somebody walks, who is out there? Well, we're going to jump right into this as Vladislav Gabrov. He plays for the Kings right now. He's a big guy. He's very similar to Aaron Ekblad if you guys really want to think about the size, the way that he plays. Now, he might not be the biggest offensive threat, but he plays great defense. He's only 29 years old, very similar to Ekblad. I think they are exactly the same age. He is 6'3". Aaron Ekblad is 6'4". Aaron Ekblad is 216 pounds. Gavrikov is 221 pounds, and he's a lefty. So in the regular season this year, as you can see his stats, 5 goals, 25 assists, 28 penalty minutes. That's not a lot of penalty minutes for playing an 82-game season. So that is good news if you're looking at a player and you're saying, all right, he doesn't make a lot of stupid mistakes. If you want to compare it to what Aaron Ekblad did this year, Aaron Ekblad, I think, had 80-plus penalty minutes. Again, if I am wrong, I do apologize, but I know he's got a lot more than 28 penalty minutes for the season, and he didn't even play a full 82 games. Remember, the suspension, the 20-game PED suspension. And Gavrikov's TOI is 23, just over 23 minutes. His postseason numbers, well, really not much to show. This past year, no goals, 2 assists, same thing for the year prior. I mean, you could see defensive guy. But again, the one thing that I love about the Panthers, and this is the one thing that GM Bill Zito is priding himself on, as well as Paul Maurice, they want to bring in guys that have a chip on their shoulder. They want to bring in guys that they can mold into their system, and maybe they could bring in this guy, and we'll talk about dollars and cents in just a second. If they were able to bring him in, they could maybe mold him into not just, this incredible defensive player that he already is. They could also make him an offensive threat too. They just got to work on that part of his game. Every single person has become a Florida Panther, even if it's just been for a year. I'm not going to say every one of them has had a career year, but they've played very solid hockey. And Vladislav Gabrov is a very, very good defender. He's only 29. And these are the biggest rumblings about Vladislav Gabrov. Okay, so doesn't provide much offense. That's kind of a bummer. But the biggest thing is this, his defensive net rating is 14.3. That led all defensemen that's league-wide in the NHL. And they had some pretty stiff competition that they had to go through, obviously. So the strong argument that he could be probably the best defenseman in the league. Even though he doesn't do a lot on the offensive side of things, you could say, okay, it's a trade-off that we're willing to do because he's such a phenomenal defender. And so in terms of money, well, in just a second, I'll get over the money in just a second. So his GAR right now is one of the best in the league. 17.3. And that's 5th among blue liners league-wide. So he can be a liability. He's not really much of a liability offensively, but defensively, he will stack up well. I mean, imagine him on that line with Forsling. Or you change it up and put him with Seth Jones. I think he would fit in nicely. But the dollars and cents now. So Evolving Hockey has him possibly signing a 4-year deal with a cap hit of around 5.6, between about $5.5 to $6 million a year. That's roughly like what we're saying about Aaron Ekblad. So that could be an even trade, bring in one guy, take out the other. But, Ekblad does have better offensive stats. But is the trade-off worth it to get a better defenseman? Potentially. But there's also, if you do a long-term deal, AFP Analytics says a 7-year deal with a cap hit of $7.6 million. And with the market being really small for defensemen right now, he is pretty much the best that there is out there. Ekblad is right underneath him. So he might be a good fit if Aaron Ekblad walks in terms of dollar amount. You don't have to sign him for 7 or 8 years. I would say you do that lower. You sign him for a 4-year deal at about $5.5 million because, again, there's no state tax, so you've got that going for you. Maybe you even get it for a little bit less and you do $5 million. So, again, keep an open mind with these numbers, guys, when I throw this stuff at you, because this is about the hypotheticals of what can the Panthers do if this guy walks. If Aaron Ekblad is no more, what can the Panthers do? Who can they get to replace him? So when we're looking at that, here is a better look at his numbers for the year. 82 games, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points, 112 shots, plus 26. Great numbers. 50 hits this season. Might not be a lot, but look at how many blocked shots. 140 blocked shots on the year. So he puts up some really good defensive numbers. And I would say with the Panthers' physicality, he would fit in great into this system because he would adopt it and he would play as physical as the rest of this Panthers team, especially with Tkachuk, and if Bennett is still there, and if Marchand is here. You know, those three guys, I think, would instill a lot of confidence in him to be able to throw his body around. I mean, 50 hits is still a decent amount, but when you compare it to some of the other guys on the Panthers, but the block shots is the biggest thing for me. He's a phenomenal defender, and 23 minutes on ice is a great on average ice time for him. So we'll go back to this right now. So we're going to talk about Dante Fabbro. He played for the Columbus Blue Jackets this past year and had an okay season. I'm not going to say it was the strongest of his career, but he had a good season. His best one came in the middle of his tenure with the Nashville Predators, but 27 years old. He's young. He could be molded in this system if they sign him to a longer term deal, and it's very possible that they could do so. I think he wouldn't be a bad pickup because he's also not going to break the bank right now. Well, I'll get into the details of his stats and everything in just a moment, but in terms of a 5-year deal from Evolving Hockey, they say 5-year with a cap hit of about $5.5 million, and if he does a 4-year contract, there'll be a cap hit of about $4.5 million. But again, no state tax will say a lot about, okay, maybe he'll take a little bit less. He's young. He's not the biggest guy. He's about 6 foot, 189 pounds, and he's right-handed. 9 goals, 17 assists, 40 penalty minutes on the season. He's only played 62 games, but he was 2 different teams this year. So in total for the year, he actually ended up having 9 goals, 17 assists. Not a bad season for a defenseman. So there are reports, though, that he is working on an extension with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's not out there yet, but it would be a smart move because he played really well after they did claim him off of waivers last year. 9 goals, 26 points, 68 games, 31-point pace if he had played a total of 82 games last season on one team. But he was very good. A total expected goals above replacement at 13.4. That's 4th among Blue Jacket skaters this season. So he was very good on his team. But not a lot of offense again, really good defense. He would be kind of that second pair role if he did come to the Panthers. Maybe even push him down to the third line. It would really, again, it would depend on how they're going to do their pairings. Who would you put Forsling with? Would you bump up Seth Jones and then put Dante Fabbro down? I don't know. That's not my job. I'm not the coach, but again, I'm talking about just replacing one guy for the other. Again, he's not the biggest dude, but he is a very strong defender. So that's another option. And when you look at his stats a little more up close for you guys to really see it, 68 games, 9 goals, 17 assists, 26 points, 89 shots, plus minus of 20, almost 21 minutes per game for time on ice, blocked 143 shots, 67 hits this season. That's what you want to see out of a guy like this. He's young. I think he's got something to prove. You know, he's being claimed off waivers, halfway through the season. So, you know, he might have a little chip on his shoulder where he's got something that he wants to prove to all of the teams that were like, all right, you know, we let him go halfway through the season. And I think if he comes on here, he'll definitely fit into this championship mentality of this team. He'd fit in nicely. And these younger guys, they have a lot to learn. Again, they're malleable, which is great. And I do think that the Panthers can make him an even better player than he is, hopefully on the offensive side if he does come here. But again, this is not me saying this is definitive, this is going to happen, because I'm assuming with GM Bill Zito saying he has a plan on how to bring all 3 of our big free agents back, I'm going to believe what he has to say. I'm not going to say those guys might not test the market and see what's out there. But again, it's like if you're going to get an offer from the Panthers and then somewhere else is going to offer more, but then after taxes and everything else, it becomes out to be the same amount of money you're earning in a year. Why would you not stay in Florida with everything that is down here? A club that is winning, a front office that is the best in the league. Your GM is the best in the league. We'll see if he wins the Jim Gregory Award. That's on the 26th in a few days. But why would you want to leave? Again, Steven Stamkos said it the best. Why would you want to leave? Why would I want to leave Tampa? So anyways, getting back to where we were, guys. So that's Dante Fabbro. Here he is in the postseason. Again, not a whole lot to show. Didn't really do much, unfortunately. Only had 3 games played. That was for Nashville last season. But I'm thinking this more of just the defensive mind. So we're going to keep moving forward here. And we are now going to jump into Dmitri Orlov. I really, really like Dmitri Orlov a lot. I think he could be a really good fit for this team. Again, not the biggest guy. He is a little bit older, so he does have experience. He knows the Cats pretty well because he's played against them a lot in the last couple of years. And unfortunately, he's gotten his butt kicked because last year they were swept. This year, they only won 1 game against the Cats. But that's a conversation for a different day. But 33 years old, 5'11", 214 pounds. In the regular season, 6 goals, 22 assists, 24 penalty minutes, 76 games. His time on ice is just under 20 minutes. He's played good. He's a great defender. I mean, everybody knows who he is, but he had a rough postseason. He didn't really do much, but he's still a reliable number 3 or 4 defenseman based on what he's done in the regular season the last few years, and you can see it here. Again, not a huge offensive threat, but his defense is great. And I'm going to show you again the stats a little more up close so you guys can get a better picture. But yeah, I really like his fit in with the Florida Panthers because his even strength defense, the expected goals above replacement is at 5.3. That led all Hurricane skaters, just a 1/10 of a point above Jacob Slavin. And he defends the rush incredibly well. He's an efficient puck mover when he's moving up onto the offensive third. And he excels in the defensive zone retrievals and defending the forecheck. He would fit in great here, especially with some of the issues the Panthers did have with defending the forecheck at some points in this postseason, as well as towards the end of the regular season. They really had a big problem with that 6-game losing streak with defending the forecheck. So Evolving Hockey has him signing a 3-year contract with a cap hit of about $4.5 million. The AFP Analytics says 3 years of about $5.8 million, but that is a little bit rich for a guy who's 33 years old and probably will not be able to sign anything longer than a 3-4 year deal. And I still believe that he could be a big boost to this team in terms of getting rid of one player in Ekblad. He leaves and they bring in this guy. Even though he is smaller, I'm going to show you the hits that he had. These are his postseason numbers. He has a hell of a lot of experience in the postseason. And look, he played on the Washington Capitals. I think we all know that. So he played with one of the best in the world. I mean, the best goal scorer in the regular season. We all know who that is. So anyways, he's got experience. And that is big for this team. And I know he would want to come here and say, you know what, I will take less money to be here on a team that can win another championship for me. And I could see it happening. But again, these are all theoreticals, guys. This is not definitive. This is just these are the guys who are out here. These are kind of my top 3 of let's see who can the Panthers replace Ekblad with. So now I'm going to show you guys Dmitri Orlov up close and personal. Here we go. Man, look at the mug on that dude. He looks mean. 76 games, 6 goals, 22 assists. 101 hits this season. That's big. Only blocked 60 shots, so a little bit opposite of what the other guys were. The other guys didn't have as many hits, but they blocked more shots. So it's like he's a very physical style of play, which the Panthers would love. Plus minus is 16. I see him as a very good fit as well. He might be probably the better fit because of his veteran play, his high hockey IQ as well, and all of the different players that he has played with. I mean, he played with Marchand couple of years ago in Boston. So he might fit in pretty well with this Panthers team in terms of moving forward and trying to get to another championship next year if Ekblad does not sign and stay. Again, these are all hypotheticals, guys, and the money works out. They could even save a little bit and still get a good guy. Yes, I know there's no longevity in keeping him on this team, so you'd sign probably a 3-year deal with him. And I know it'd be better probably getting a younger player. That's why I was telling you guys I really like Fabbro, because he's only 27 years old, and you could still work with him and do a 7 or 8 year deal if you wanted to. But I think Orlov's experience would be great. I like Gavrikov because of his size, and he is the best defenseman in the league. All right, he might be up there like top 3 for sure, but he's going to come at a much higher cost because he's the same age as Ekblad. He's still got several years to go. But his downside is he's not the greatest offensive player. That's where he really lacks in his game, but that could change. A lot of guys have had career years coming here in their first or second year. But anyways, guys, so that's where we stand today in terms of those are the free agents on the market right now. Those are my top 3 that I think could replace Aaron Ekblad if he does decide to walk. But contract negotiations are ongoing. There have been a little bit of talks. Nothing has actually come out yet, so this is all just speculation at this point, just to give you guys kind of a rough look at who is out there. Again, the defensemen, they're kind of thin in free agency this year. The centers and forwards, there's a lot more out there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that we're not going to be able to afford. That's why I'm saying I think 100%, I think 2 out of the 3 guys in terms of Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad, definitely I think 2 of the 3 are going to come back because they'll have enough money to throw at them. And then I think they're going to have to go free agency and pick up someone at around $3 to $4 million, because I think Bennett is going to have to take that. They're saying 7.5 to 8 million. He will give him maybe that hometown discount and take 7.5 instead of going 8 to 9 million. That is the rumor that is floating out there for 8 years. And then Marchand, I know they're saying he could fetch upwards of about $8 million, but I don't think it's going to come from a team in a state where there's no state tax. I think if he comes here, 6.5 million, 6 million, like he was being offered from Boston, but there's state tax. Here there is none. Why not stay here and keep trying to win? It would really suck if he ends up leaving. The Panthers win 2 more titles in a row, or they make it 3 years in a row to Stanley Cup Finals and win one of those 3, whatever it is. If they win another title, I think he'll look back on this and say, I don't know why I didn't stay for another 2 or 3 years. I should have stayed. That's the thing I think Marchand will have in the back of his head when he goes through these negotiations with the Florida Panthers is, what if I leave? What am I going to leave behind? Why not stay a part of this organization that I fit in so well with in such a short period of time? Imagine if I have a longer tenure with this team, how much better the chemistry will be, how much better he will be, how much better he will make the players around him, as in Lundell and Lucian, who got chemistry with immediately. They all trusted each other. I mean, that was, I would say, probably the best line that was out there in the playoffs. Yes, I know Bennett scored 15 goals, but just looking at that third line, man, every time they went out there, it's like you almost saw them score a goal. Once every game, it was a possibility. Or I mean, if I look back at the stats, I'm sure it happened a lot, and I would say that was probably the best line of the whole every single series this postseason. So I'm not going to get into that though. This is all just about defensemen and everything. That's a conversation for the next video that I will have. But guys, think about this stuff. Put your comments down there. Are there any other players that you would consider, hey, I would take that guy instead and let Ekblad walk? Unless, again, if Ekblad takes less money, sign him. If he takes $5 to $6 million and does a hometown discount, sign him. You gave him $7.5 million a year for 8 years. He's earned that money, and we even paid him well over what he should have been paid, considering the amount of games he's played on average for the last 5 seasons. He was injured a lot, PED suspensions. He should give him a hometown discount. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. Again, leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Please, I know a lot of you are returning to watch these videos. And man, just hit that subscribe button. It takes a quarter of a second. Tap it, click it, whatever you got to do from your phone, from your computer, from your tablet. It takes a quarter of a second so you can stay up to date with everything that is going on with the Florida Panthers right now, because there's going to be a lot of juicy news, breaking news, and stuff like that that will be coming out. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Go Panthers.